The silent scream, the crystalline spires of Xerion Prime, caught the morning light like frozen tears. For 3 centuries, the Kelthani had called this world home, building their research colony among the ancient ruins left by a long-dead civilization. The peaceful scholars had come here to study the mysterious technology buried beneath the planet's surface, never imagining that their discovery would become their doom. Vextar pressed his scaled hand against the observation window of the underground research facility. Above ground, fires burned where the beautiful crystal gardens once stood. The attack had come without warning, like a plague of metal locusts descending from the stars. The Scarix Empire had found them. How many ships? Vextar asked, his voice steady despite the fear clawing at his chest. Zalaneth, his chief scientist, looked up from her instruments with eyes that had seen too much death in the past week. 47 warships in orbit, Commander. More arriving every day. They're not just here to conquer us. They want to erase us. The ground shook as another bombardment struck the surface. Dust rained from the ceiling of the bunker that had become their tomb. 4,000 Kelthani civilians huddled in the underground chambers, their hope fading with each passing hour. The Kelthani were not warriors. They were researchers, teachers, farmers, and artists. Their longest weapons were the tools they used to excavate ancient ruins. Their strongest armor was the environmental suits they wore while exploring dangerous dig sites. They had never hurt anyone, had never taken anything that wasn't freely given. But the Scarix Empire didn't care about peace or innocence. They cared about power, about the ancient technology sleeping beneath Xerion Prime, the artifacts the Kelthani had spent centuries carefully studying. The Scarix wanted to plunder and weaponize. Any response to our distress calls? Vextar asked, though he already knew the answer. Zalaneth shook her head. Nothing. The Galactic Federation's nearest patrol is 6 months away. The Centauri Alliance is fighting their own war in the outer spiral. We're alone, Commander. Alone. The word echoed in the silence between explosions. 4,000 souls, alone in the darkness, waiting for death to find them. Vextar walked through the crowded bunkers, past families holding each other. Close, past children who had forgotten what sunlight looked like. The Kelthani were a gentle people, tall and graceful, with iridescent scales that shimmered in soft blues and greens. Their large eyes held wisdom and kindness, but now they only reflected fear. In the medical bay, Dr. Halvin tended to the wounded with supplies that wouldn't last another week. In the communications center, technicians sent the same desperate message into the void, knowing that help would never come in time. This is Colony Leader Vextar of the Kelthani Research Station on Xerion Prime, the message repeated endlessly. We are under attack by the Scarix Empire. 4,000 civilians require immediate evacuation. Our defenses have failed. We have perhaps days before our position is overrun. Please, if anyone can hear this, we need help. The message traveled through space at the speed of light, carrying the desperate hope of a dying people. It passed dead. Worlds and empty systems, searching for someone, anyone, who might care enough to help. 3 days later, and 18 light years away, the message found an answer. Captain Elena Rodriguez was reviewing star charts in her ready room when the communication alert sounded. The CSS Defiant Dawn was 3 months into a deep space exploration mission, mapping new systems in the unexplored regions beyond the Terran Federation's borders. Captain to the bridge, came the voice of Lieutenant Commander Sarah Chun, her first officer. Elena made her way to the bridge, where she found her crew gathered around the communications station. The Defiant Dawn was a new class of exploration vessel, designed for long-range missions into unknown space. She carried a crew of 93 humans, scientists and explorers who had volunteered to spend years in the void searching for new worlds. What do we have, Sarah? Elena asked. We intercepted a distress signal, Captain. It's in a language our computers don't recognize, but we've managed to translate most of it. Sarah handed her a data pad. It's not good news. Elena read the translation, her expression growing darker with each line. An alien species under attack. 4,000 civilians. No help coming. She looked around the bridge at her crew. They were explorers, not soldiers. The Defiant Dawn had defensive weapons, but she wasn't built for combat. How far away are they? Elena asked. 18 light years, Captain. At maximum warp, we could reach them in 6 hours. 6 hours. Elena stared at the star chart, calculating distances and possibilities. Even if they left immediately, they would arrive to find a slaughter. The Scarix Empire was legendary for their brutality. They left no survivors, took no prisoners. Captain, said Dr. Marcus Webb, the ship's xenobiologist, this could be first. Contact with a new species. We have a responsibility to at least try to help. Elena looked at her crew. She saw fear in their eyes, but also determination. These people had joined Starfleet to explore, to push the boundaries of human knowledge. They had never signed up for a war. The Scarix Empire has 47 warships, Elena said quietly. We have 1 exploration vessel with minimal weapons. This would be suicide. Maybe, said Commander Chun. But what's the alternative? We let 4,000 innocent people die because we're afraid? Elena closed her eyes and thought about the oath she had taken when she became a captain, to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no one had gone before. But there was another oath, older and deeper, that all humans carried in their hearts, to help those who couldn't help themselves. All hands, this is the captain, Elena announced over the ship's communication system. We have received a distress call from an alien species under attack. I won't lie to you. This is dangerous. We're outnumbered and outgunned. Anyone who wants to turn back, speak now. The bridge was silent. Elena looked around at her crew, waiting. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. They had made their choice. Very well, Elena said. Helm, set course for Zirian Prime. Maximum warp. All departments, prepare for combat operations. We're going to war. The Defiant Dawn turned toward the distant star. System, her engines burning bright as she raced to answer a call for help. Behind her, the void of space seemed to whisper with the voices of those who had gone before. Humans who had always answered when someone needed help. In the depths of space, a small ship carried the hopes of a dying world. The Kelthani had called, out into the darkness, believing that no one would answer. They were about to learn that they were wrong. Humanity was coming. Asterisk. Storm of defiance. The Defiant Dawn dropped out of warp at the edge of the Zirian system, and Captain Elena Rodriguez felt her heart sink. The tactical display showed a nightmare of enemy vessels surrounding the planet like hungry predators. 47. Scarix warships, each one larger and more heavily armed than her exploration vessel. My God, whispered Lieutenant Commander Chun. Look at the planet. On the main screen, Zirian Prime burned. The once beautiful world was scarred with impact. Craters and fires. The crystalline cities of the Kelthani were rubble, their elegant spires reduced to glittering fragments. The bombardment had been methodical, designed to break the spirit of the defenders. Captain, I'm detecting faint life signs from underground installations, reported Ensign Martinez from the science station. The aliens are still alive, but barely. Elena studied the tactical display. The Scarix ships were arranged in a perfect blockade formation, confident in their overwhelming advantage. They had detected the Defiant Dawn's arrival, but seemed unconcerned by the appearance of a single human vessel. Open a channel to the planet, Elena ordered. The communications officer worked frantically, to establish contact. After several minutes, a weak signal came through. The translator rendered the alien words into English, but Elena could hear the exhaustion and despair in the original voice. "This is Colony Leader Vextar." "Who is this? Are you here to help us?" "This is Captain Elena Rodriguez of the Terran Federation vessel Defiant Dawn. We received your distress call." "We're here to help." There was a long pause. Then Vextar's voice returned, stronger now. "Humans? We have never encountered your species before. You came so far to help strangers?" "That's what we do," Elena replied simply. "What's your situation?" "Down there? We have perhaps 12 hours before the Scarix break through our final defenses. 4,000 civilians are trapped in underground bunkers. We have no weapons, no way to fight back. We had given up hope." Elena looked around the bridge. Her crew was listening intently, their faces grim but determined. She could see the same thought in all their eyes. 12 hours. Not much time to save an entire species. "Captain," said Commander Chun quietly, "we need to talk." Elena nodded and gestured for her senior staff to join her in the ready room. Within minutes, her department heads were gathered around the conference table, their faces reflecting the impossible nature of their situation. "Options?" Elena asked. "We can't fight them directly," said Lieutenant Commander Torres, the ship's tactical officer. "Even with our upgrades, we're outnumbered 47-1. The Scarix warships are designed for conquest. They outgun us in every category. What about evacuation?" Asked Dr. Webb. "Could we extract the civilians?" 4,000 people? Torres shook his head. "Our shuttles could handle maybe 200 at a time. We'd need 25 trips just to get everyone off the planet. And that's assuming the Scarix don't shoot us down on the first approach." Elena stared at the tactical display showing the enemy fleet. The Scarix were known throughout the galaxy for their cruelty. They had destroyed dozens of worlds, enslaved entire species, and turned conquest into an art form. They were everything humanity despised about the universe. "What about the ancient technology?" Elena asked. "The Kelthani came here to study alien artifacts. Could we use them?" Dr. Webb leaned forward. "The preliminary scans show massive energy signatures beneath the planet's surface. The Kelthani have been studying these ruins for centuries, but they've been careful, treating them as archaeological sites rather than weapons." "Captain," said Commander Chun, "I have an idea. It's crazy, but it might work." Elena looked at her first officer. Sarah Chun was one of the smartest people Elena had ever met, with a tactical mind that could see patterns others missed. If she had an idea, it was worth hearing. "The Scarix are confident," Chun continued. "They think they've already won. They're not expecting resistance from a single human ship. What if we use that arrogance against them?" Elena raised an eyebrow. "Go on. We make contact with the Kelthani scientists. They know more about the ancient technology than anyone in the galaxy. If we can combine their knowledge with our engineering capabilities, we might be able to activate some of those buried systems." "And do what?" Torres asked. "Level the playing field," Chun replied. "The Scarix want the technology for themselves. What if we turn it against them?" Elena considered the plan. It was desperate, dangerous, and had almost no chance of success. But it was also the only chance they had. "How long would we need?" Elena asked. "Unknown," admitted Dr. Webb. "We'd be working with technology that's thousands of years old, possibly millions. It could take days, weeks, or it might be impossible." "We don't have days," Elena said. "We have 12 hours. The room fell silent. Elena looked around the table at her senior staff. These people had followed her across the galaxy, had trusted her judgment in 100 dangerous situations. Now she was asking them to risk everything for strangers they had never met. "I know what you're thinking. Elena said quietly. This isn't our fight. These aren't our people. We could turn around right now, report back to Starfleet, and let someone else deal with this. She paused, looking each of them in the eye. But that's not who we are. Humans don't abandon people in need. We don't turn our backs on genocide. We don't run from bullies, no matter how big they are. Elena stood up, her voice growing stronger. The Scarix think they can terrorize innocent people without consequence. They think the galaxy is too afraid to stand up to them. Today, they learned they're wrong. Today, they learn what happens when you threaten people under humanity's protection. Commander Chun smiled grimly. So we're really doing this? Taking on an entire fleet with one ship? We're not taking on a fleet, Elena corrected. We're saving 4,000 lives. Everything else is just details. The senior staff returned to their posts, and Elena opened a channel to the entire ship. All hands, this is the captain. By now you all know our situation. We're outnumbered, outgunned, and facing an enemy that has never been defeated. The smart play would be to run. The safe play would be to call for backup and hope it arrives. In time, Elena paused, looking out at the burning planet on the main screen. But we're not here to play it safe. We're here because 4,000 innocent people need our help. We're here because someone has to stand up to the Scarix Empire and say no more. We're here because that's what humans do. She could feel the energy on the bridge, the determination of her crew. They were afraid, but they were also angry. The Scarix had made a mistake when they decided to massacre civilians. They had made an even bigger mistake when they did it in front of humans. Contact the Kelthani, Elena ordered. Tell them we're coming down to the planet. Tell them to gather their best scientists and engineers. We're going to give them a fighting chance. The defiant Dawn turned toward the planet, her engines burning bright as she dove toward the surface. Behind her, the Scarix fleet began to move, their weapons charging as they prepared to swat aside this annoying human vessel. They had no idea what they were about to face. The Kelthani had called out into the darkness, believing that help would never come. But humanity had answered their call, and now the storm was about to break dot in the depths of space. Thunder rolled across the void. The Scarix Empire was about to learn why humans were known throughout the galaxy for their stubborn refusal to give up. They were about to learn that sometimes the smallest ships carried the biggest hearts. The battle for Zerion Prime was about to begin. Asterisk.